After that rather harrowing experience with the twins and Boko, Edward thought it would be best to relax for a few days. But one day, his driver came along. "Wake up, Edward. Enthusiast train. I'm afraid it's going to be pretty heavy. Do you think you can do it?" "I'll try my best, sir." He eventually found some coaches and backed down onto the train. Henry, James and Gordon were watching from the other platforms as Edward strained and struggled to get the train moving. "Oh dear. Do you see him straining?" asked Henry. "Positively painful," remarked James. "Just pathetic," grunted Gordon. "He should give up already and be preserved before it's too late." "Shut up!" burst out Duck. "You're all jealous. Edward's better than any of you." "You're right, Duck. Edward's old, but he'll surprise us all," remarked Boko. After finally making up for lost time, they made it. Their destination? The China clay pits where Bill and Ben work. They were absolutely delighted to have visitors. They loved being photographed and took the party to the workings in a brake van special. On the way home, however, the weather changed for the worst. Wind and rain battered Edward. His sanding gear failed, his wheels slipped. His driver rode up in front, dropping sand on the rails by hand. "Come on, come 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 on!" panted Edward breathlessly. "Oh, this is dreadful!" But there was worse to come. Before his driver could check him, his wheels slipped fiercely, again and again and again, with a shrieking crack. Something broke and battered his frame and splashes in and out of all shape. The passengers gathered round while the crew inspected the damage. Repairs, I'm afraid, took some time. "You've lost one of your crank pins, Edward," said his driver. "So, we've taken your side rods off and now you're a single, like one of those old-fashioned engines. Now, this is going to be a lot to ask. But can you get these people home? They must get back tonight." With a lot of thinking, and with determination in his heart, Edward said, "I'll try, sir." They backed down to where the line was most nearly level, and Edward puffed and puffed his hardest. But his wheels just kept slipping. He just could not start the heavy train. The passengers were getting awful anxious. After a lot of drinking, conversating, and swearing, the driver, fireman, and guard came up with an idea to possibly get the train moving. Moving backwards and in between the coaches, they loosened the couplings. "Come on!" puffed Edward with incredible strain. "All right, Edward, we tried our best, but I think it's time to throw it." "No!" Edward said defiantly. "I shall not! Not today!" "I've done it! I've done it! I've done it!" These people need to get home. It is my responsibility. Meanwhile, at the big station, the frat controller was pacing the platform. Henry, with a special train, waited. Anxiety was between both of them. And then they heard it. Then, battered and beaten, but not lost, Edward steamed in. Fat controller with a scowl on his face stepped forward, pointing to the clock, but out of nowhere, passengers flooded out of the coaches. They cheered Edward and swept the Fat controller aside. His driver and fireman to the Echo, before rushing off to get in Henry's train. Henry steamed away in another storm of cheers. Henry himself was not too pleased. But not before everyone knew Edward's story. Edward thankfully went back to the shed, and Duck and Boko saw to it that he was left in peace. Gordon and James remained respectfully silent.